Okay, so I was thinking about this the other day. You know how when you're playing and your strings feel off, like your game just goes, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't
It
quite.
just feels wrong. It makes you realize how important getting those strings right is. And it got me thinking, imagine the pressure on the folks who string rackets for pro players.
Oh, absolutely. Those guys, the Master Badminton Tour Stringers, talk about high stakes.
Right, these aren't your average sports store string jobs. We're talking Olympics, World Championships, the big leagues. This is like the black belt of badminton stringing.
A whole other level.
And we've actually got our hands on this super detailed breakdown of the whole MBTS certification process. And let me tell you, it is intense.
What's wild is that at this level, we're talking about millimeters and like a single pound of tension making or breaking a player's game. Seriously, it's that precise.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about it. A player's known for their cross-court smash, right? Their timing, everything is based on the feel of those strings.
So if the tension's off?
Even a little. That shuttle's going to go haywire. Instead of a winning point, it's a fault. It's that level of precision.
Wow. Okay, that puts it into perspective. So these master stringers are like racket whisperers. They can like unlock a player's A game just with their stringing skills.
Exactly. And that's not even taking into account the mental pressure of the whole thing. We're talking tournament settings, players on edge, time constraints.
Oh man, I can't even imagine.
These stringers need nerves of steel on top of all that technical skill. They have to stay calm, collected, and be the rock for these players who are freaking out.
That's intense.
It is. All right, well, I'm hooked. We've got this document here, so let's actually dive into the nitty-gritty of what it takes.
Let's do it.
Let's talk skills. What are we looking at here?
Buckle up, because we're about to unravel the fascinating world of knots, tension, and the science of pre-stretch. It's more than just stringing a racket, let me tell you.
So, okay, this document goes deep on these very specific stringing techniques. Like, right off the bat.
Yeah.
2-knot methods, 4-knot methods. I gotta be honest, it's a little over my head. Can you even explain this stuff without, like, needing an engineering degree?
Oh, absolutely. It's not as complicated as it seems. Think about it this way. You've got your racket frame, right? 2 halves held together by the throat.
Yeah.
Stringing, it's kind of like weaving a web. Each string, it crosses over and under. And those knots, they're the anchors. How you tie them, whether it's a 2-knot or 4-knot system, well, that's what gives you the magic.
Okay, so it's not just about tying a knot, it's about knowing which knot to use.
Exactly. A 2-knot's going to give you this really crisp, direct feel. A lot of players, especially singles players, they love it for that control. Those lightning fast net shots. 2-knot all the way.
Makes sense. And the 4-knot, what's the deal with that one?
That one, it's a bit more intricate, 4 knots, as you might guess, but it gives you this cushioned feel because the strings, they can move a bit more freely, so you get more power. Doubles players, they tend to go for that 4-knot system.
So it's like choosing, I don't know, a sports car versus a luxury sedan.
Perfect analogy.
Both get you there, but...
Yeah. Different ride, different purpose.
Exactly, and that's why Master Stringer, they gotta be masters of both, right?
Absolutely. Got to cater to all those player preferences. And then there's the speed element.
Oh yeah, this whole thing about stringing a racket in under 25 minutes, I mean, come on, that's... Intense is an understatement.
Pro Tour, every minute matters. Player breaks a string mid-match. They need that restring, like yesterday.
No pressure, right?
Right. And on top of that, we're talking 28 to 33 pounds of tension.
See, now that just sounds painful, like for the racket.
Think of it this way. The higher the tension, the more those strings are like a trampoline. Shuttle hits, more energy transfer, bam, faster, more powerful shot.
Okay, so higher tension equals more power. But you were saying even being off by a pound or two can mess a player up.
Absolutely, and that's where pre-stretch comes in. Because strings, just like anything else, they lose tension over time.
Right, like your favorite jeans that suddenly decide to.
Exactly, and you don't want your racket feeling different every time you play. So master stringers, they've got this pre-stretch calculation, usually 10% to 15%, to compensate for that natural relaxation.
So they're fine-tuning the strings.
Exactly. It's about predictability, consistency. Every serve, every shot, it's got to feel the same.
Man, the amount of science that goes into this, it's amazing.
Oh, we're just getting started. And remember all that mental game stuff we were talking about?
Wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah. This certification, it dives deep into understanding the player, their psychology, how to be their rock in those high-pressure moments.
Okay, now that I got to hear more about. So we talked about knots, we talked tension, pre-stretch, all that technical stuff. But then this document goes into this whole extended player interaction simulation, and that's where it got really interesting to me.
It's where the rubber meets the road.
Right. Like, are they training these master stringers to be mind readers?
Well, maybe not mind readers, but they have to be incredibly perceptive. You see, these pro players, they're so in tune with their equipment.
Oh, for sure. They can probably feel a difference most of us wouldn't even notice.
Exactly. So instead of explaining what they need, they might just say something like, "This feels a bit sluggish today," and the master stringer. They have to decode that.
So like racket whisperers.
That's a great way to put it. They need to observe the player, maybe ask a few pointed questions, understand their game, and then translate all of that into precise adjustments.
That's wild. And don't forget, they're doing this in the middle of a tournament with everything on the line. The pressure has got to be immense.
Oh, absolutely. You've got players on edge, maybe coming off a tough loss, and they're looking to the stringer for, well, more than just a restringing. It's about reassurance, confidence. They need to know their equipment is dialed in.
So it's like part technician, part sports psychologist.
Exactly. A good master stringer understands that their role goes beyond just the technical stuff. They have to be a calming presence in what's probably a pretty chaotic environment.
I bet there's some amazing stories out there, about those player-stringer relationships. Have you got any good ones?
Oh, I'm sure there are tons. Picture this. Tense final. Player's known for his smash, he's down a break point, and you can just see the frustration building. He calls for a restring, convinced something's off with the racket.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
So the stringer, a seasoned veteran, he calmly checks the racket, the tension, everything. Turns out, racket's strung perfectly. But here's the thing. This stringer, he knows the player, knows his game, and he recognizes the real issue isn't the equipment, it's nerves.
Oh, wow.
So instead of just handing the racket back, he takes a moment, looks the player dead in the eye and says, "Remember that tournament last month? You won with this exact setup. Trust yourself. You got this." And that's all it took. The player takes a breath, nods, and heads back onto the court. Refocused, re-energized.
Man, sometimes a few words of encouragement are all you need, huh?
Sometimes that's all it takes. And that's what sets these master stringers apart. They're not just technicians, they're masters of the mental game.
That's amazing. So how does the certification process actually test for all of this? Because it can't just be about stringing a racket quickly, right?
You're right. It goes way beyond that. We're talking a rigorous theoretical exam, string properties, tension theory even. You guessed it, professional player psychology.
Wow. So much for just needing to know how to tie a knot.
Right. And then there's the practical exam. They've got assessors watching their every move, how they handle the pressure, their communication skills, their ability to read a player's needs. It's the whole package.
So basically, they need to be masters of their craft and unflappable under pressure.
Exactly. Earning that Master Badminton Tour Stringer certification. It's a testament to a whole other level of skill, knowledge. It's pretty incredible.
This whole deep dive has been amazing. It really makes you appreciate just how much goes on behind the scenes. Like, I always thought stringing a racket was a pretty straightforward thing.
I think a lot of people do. But when you get down to it, the level of precision, the understanding of the materials, the psychology of the game, it's fascinating.
It really is. And I think it just goes to show that there's always more than meets the eye, no matter what field you look at.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's those hidden layers of complexity that are the most intriguing.
Couldn't agree more. Well, on that note, we'll let our listeners ponder that. Next time you pick up a badminton racket, think about all those intricate details that go into every shot. It might just change the way you play the game.
We're the best stringer worldwide, passion and knowledge side by side. From badminton to